welcome to the Sugar Bell Review, a program dedicated to learning about the people, places, and policies that make up the Bellbrook Sugarcreek community. This evening, we have with us Chief Jeff Leaming from the Sugarcreek Fire Department.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining us on this Wednesday before 4th of July. So we can talk maybe a little bit about how the fire department handles the 4th of July around here.
Well, thanks for having me. It's really exciting, and yeah, I'd love to talk about the 4th of July. It's probably my favorite holiday, so.
Awesome. At first, I've never really been around. I mean, I've seen the blue fire trucks. I love the blue fire trucks. That's you guys, right, downtown?
It is the blue fire trucks, but we're changing. I don't know if you've noticed, but we've made a conscious decision to change and go back to red.
Oh, okay.
And the reason being, and when I came, it was we had the blue, and it is very recognizable, but there's not much resale value in trying to have somebody buy that vehicle once it's really its usefulness is exhausted. So we're going back to a red, a more traditional red, and you'll see red and black vehicles now.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
that'll be good. You know, it's still very recognizable as
It
the
is.
fire department, so that's
It
good.
is.
All right, so tell me a little bit about how your day-to-day functions work at the station.
Well, as fire chief, my station is on Clio at Station 72. That's where my offices are. So that's kind of our main station where we do most of our training. And we have folks that are assigned at our downtown station or downtown Bellbrook on Franklin, where there's an engine and a medic run out of there. And then the day-to-day operation for me is really coming in and making sure that the operation is moving smoothly. And I handle along with my assistant chief, and I have an administrative assistant as well, that we keep everything paid for and up to snuff, and make sure that we've got the folks employed and do the scheduling and the payroll. And I'm more focused on not really incidents. I go on some things of significance, but I don't go on every call. For instance, I just arrived, and there's a call going on right now, and my crews are on. But day to day, it's really pretty much the same. I work Monday through Friday. Okay. I start my day at 7 and go till 3. But we have crews that are on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So that's fun. Some of the folks work 24 on and 48 off. Those are our full-time staff. Okay. And then most of our part-time staff, they work every 6th day. They'll work a 24-hour day every 6th day.
Okay, and do you have part volunteer? Do you have all paid? How does the...
We have a couple volunteers that still remain volunteer, and that's by choice. But for the most part, we have 12 full-time staff.
Okay.
Along with myself and the assistant chief, we're considered full-time, so a total of 14. But then the rest are part-time. Okay. With just a couple volunteers. Oh, it's cool. Difficult to find volunteers anymore. It used to be an all-volunteer organization.
Wow.
Years ago. But it's challenging in these times to find people that can give up the time for training and to really take calls. So we've shifted, and a lot of organizations within our area, the volunteer firefighter has pretty much gone by the wayside.
How much training is required?
We require everybody that becomes a firefighter for us to at least have level 1 fire. That's about 210 hours of training. And then we also ask them to be EMTs at a minimal level. Okay. Our full-time staff are firefighter 2, and they have to go on to even advanced training in fire. And the paramedic classes now, when I went through, it was like 800 hours. Now it's really a college degree. You go through for 2 years to get that.
So it's like an associate's.
It is very close, and we encourage people to go ahead and get their associates because they've gone that far.
Yeah.
But then there's continuing education. There's 96 hours of EMS training every 3 years, and 18 hours every year of fire training. So we're constantly training. We train pretty much every day, but we dedicate Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to structured training. 1 week will be EMS, and then another week will be fire.
Now that's changed significantly, I'm assuming, over time. Have you been in the position, have you been in firefighting for a long period of time, or?
It's been my lifelong passion. So yeah, I graduated high school in 1980. My dad was a fire chief of Spring Valley, in fact. And,
wow, cool.
And he was on years before that as a firefighter. So I kind of grew up in the fire service. I joined in 1980 the Spring Valley Fire Department once I graduated high school. And
so you've seen a lot of changes over the years.
Yeah. I don't know if you recall the show Emergency. That's kind of back in my age bracket as far as the 70s, and that was
maybe a little earlier.
That was a show that everybody that you watched that you wanted to become a firefighter. So.
Oh, that's cool. Well,
It was.
thank you so much for serving in that capacity.
You're welcome. Thank you.
That's definitely valuable for the community for sure.
Right.
And now, of course, as much as I'm interested in finding out about how all of the process works, and it's neat to find out that the person leading our fire department is so skilled and experienced. But I was curious too, how does the 4th of July work around here on terms of like your end? I mean, obviously we're used to hearing the local bangs and pops as
Right.
people have their own little mini parties, but how does it work?
Well, I want to
for
make
your
sure that
station?
everyone knows what really is legal as far as legal to possess and actually shoot off, and that would be sparklers, snakes, something that smoke bombs, and something that goes snap. Anything beyond that, consumer grade fireworks in Ohio is still illegal. So bottle rockets and firecrackers and Roman candles, those are all still illegal to shoot off in the state of Ohio.
So anything
But
makes
that
a
doesn't
big
mean
boom.
anything that regularly makes a noise is going to be illegal in the state of Ohio. Now you can purchase them in the state, but you're supposed to take them out of the state to shoot them off. Nobody does that. And in fact, there's been a change, and I know there's some legislature out there to legalize fireworks, and I kind of am on the fence about how that would work. I think if you legalize it, you really need to have someone trained on how to shoot them off correctly and safely, because inevitably there's going to be somebody get injured, whether that be an eye injury or a hand injury or somebody get burned or even set a structure on fire. Those are all possibilities whenever you're doing something that you're really not trained to do, and sometimes during parties of 4th of July, I mean, there's alcohol involved occasionally, and so that's a bad combination when you've got some dangerous products
Fire
that
and
can cause
alcohol.
harm. But I want people to enjoy the 4th. Like I said at the start of the show, I enjoy the 4th, but please go to a professional fireworks demonstration. Now, with this year, there's a lot of those that have been canceled, so it's going to be challenging to find probably a fireworks demonstration that you can go and enjoy with your family and be safe. But that's what I would advocate, is to do that if you can find one that's still going to occur, to go to that location.
Have you guys ever considered maybe in the future when they pass this law, if they pass the law, being able to maybe offer local classes or something that's like,
Well,
that would help people to understand a little bit more safety?
I think that would come from the State Fire Marshal's Office. They actually would promulgate the fire code, and it will be through the Marshal's Office, who regulates actually the professionals that do have the ability to shoot off fireworks. They're regulated through the Fire Marshal's Office. I would think and look for the Marshal's Office to push down some information to the local fire agencies that could be used for training. For instance, if you're going to shoot off fireworks, I would advocate that you are given a pair of safety goggles and some nice gloves and some of those safety things that you don't think about when you just go to light that fuse. And
How many calls do you guys usually see approximately?
we get calls, and it's more police-related calls that come into our 911 center. Our 911 center is actually in Xenia, so all of the phone calls that go 911 for Sugarcreek or Bellbrook, they go to the Xenia Dispatch Center.
Okay.
So there'll be a lot of police calls because a neighbor's shooting off fireworks that's causing disruption. It may cause the dog to go crazy, so people will call on their neighbor because they know that it's illegal to shoot off fireworks. And I've had people say, well, no, I've got a license. No, you don't. I mean, we get a listing of people that do have the professional license, and we don't really have any residents that have a licensure that can shoot off legally in Sugarcreek or Bellbrook.
Well, it's definitely good to know where that line is. Do you know where the legislature is on this? Is this something that's kind of coming down the works, or is
Well,
it
they did
something
make a
that
change
just-
last year in that you were to sign a form saying, if I buy the fireworks at a dealer in Ohio, that I will take it out of state. It's kind of called the liar's form, because most people that would sign that never really followed through with that.
They would just go home with them.
They would go home and that form would be discarded, and people should, and I understand that. It's so with the legislature, I'm a person that's my whole life has been dedicated to safety, and I would be opposed to allowing anyone to shoot them off. But if we're going to do it, we should do it safely. And if the legislature so chooses, there should probably be some additional training, like I said. I know that there's talk about putting some of the funds that come from the fireworks industry to firefighter training if it becomes legal. Now, I really don't know where that's at. I get information from the Ohio Fire Chiefs, and they're kind of on the same. I mean, we're writing it in one respect. If we get additional funding for fire service training, would be great.
Yeah.
But then we have to weigh: is it worth the possible risk, harm that could come with that?
Yeah, I've got a friend who has a 4th of July injury wounds that burned herself pretty good. That something fell down her shirt. She was playing a sparkler. It was something that was even legal. So I mean, I can only imagine that the danger presented in some of these larger explosives would be.
Well, I've seen hands completely destroyed. I've witnessed through my career various injuries related to fireworks, and they're devastating and can be very, very lifelong impacting. So it's not safe in some respect. Some of these fireworks that you can go buy, you can buy fairly large mortars where you should have a rack that you put those in and shoot them off. You can buy them. They're consumer grade,
My goodness.
but they're not legal in Ohio to really shoot off.
So if you could tell the community, like, or at least give them some advice on, hey, this 4th of July is coming. It's a couple of days from now. If you've got these things at home, what safety advice would you like them to follow to help keep them safe?
If they have illegal fireworks, I would
No,
soak
if they
them in
have
water.
legal ones.
Legal fireworks, again, are really the sparklers. And with sparklers, remember, a lot of those are wire. And when they are lit, little ones walking around with a hot wire can cause eye injuries or burn injuries. So please make sure that there's an adult supervising. If there's children using sparklers, definitely have an adult supervisor. And have a pan of water. So once those sparklers are done, throw the stick into the pan of water. So that's really a big thing. Other legal fireworks, as far as snaps, pops, smoke bombs, anytime there's somebody that's lighting something, make sure that the adult is doing the lighting as far as the sparklers and or the smoke bombs. So I don't advocate any time that the child is playing with either matches or lighters, or I've seen the outcome of those kinds of things as well. You know, not necessarily during the fireworks season, but you know that happens, and there's a lot of potential for injury and harm to property and persons when a child has a lighter.
And I'm assuming the same is also probably true for alcoholic beverages. If you have been drinking, it's probably better to have the sober people in your group playing with the fire in that sense.
I hate saying that term "playing with fire" is kind of a not a good thing to say. But yeah, if you're using intoxicating beverages, stay away from fireworks, bonfires. Just be safe. If you're in your home and you're having a beverage, that's fine. Probably not a good time to shoot off fireworks.
Well, thank you so much. That seems like very common sense advice, and I can see it being very useful in many ways, not just with relate to fire. But we really appreciate you guys coming in this evening and talking to us and discussing this. And hopefully everyone out there will have a wonderful, safe 4th of July on Saturday. And then join us on Sunday night for Douglas Kozad, who's coming in to get to know him a little bit more. So thank you all, and you have a wonderful 4th of July. You have a wonderful 4th of July.
You as well.
And thank you so much.